Teacher Alice, I am glad that I found you here. You are a hard lady to find.
Principal Pal, I'm sorry you have had trouble finding me. My students always have recess at this time every day.
As a busy administrator, I do not have time to deal with difficult schedules and figuring out what they mean. But that is not why I have been searching for you. I am here about your lesson plans.
Yes, have you been receiving them? I submit them to your email account every Friday before beginning the weekend.
Yes, I have received them, Teacher Alice, but what I have been receiving is horrible. Absolutely horrible.
I do not understand.
You clearly have no understanding about how to create a lesson plan.
I took a graduate course that specifically dealt with lesson plans and was told I had an excellent understanding of the different formats by the professor. And the charter school I worked at last year had me create a workshop on lesson plans for the other teachers during our collaborative time.
Well, your professor and the charter school clearly have no clue as to what is expected out of lesson plans. The lack of intelligence I see in people in the education field frightens me. You've obviously been duped, since your lesson plans are horrendous.
I am sorry, Principal Pal. What can I do to fix this problem?
I would suggest returning to school. Since you did not go to my alma mater, that would be my first suggestion. Leaving education and going to school full-time may be the only real way to fix this issue. However, I know that many teachers are lazy and feel they cannot find the time or money to go back to school when they so obviously need to. So, for starters, I would recommend that you look at the lesson plan example that the school district has posted on their website.
That was what I used when creating the lesson plans I submitted. They also have a useful step-by-step instructional page that I followed.
I can see that you have a difficult time following directions. You should have asked me for help at the beginning of the school year.
Principal Pal, I asked you about how my lesson plans were the first week of school. You said they were perfect.
Do you really think that I have time to read every individual's lesson plans whenever they want me to? Honestly, Teacher Alice, you were very naive.
I assumed that they were all right after you told me they were fine.
Do you have that so-called comment in writing?
No.
Well, without documentation, it never happened. I do not even recall such things being said, especially seeing how atrocious your lesson plans are.
Well, I'm very sorry, Principal Pal. Would you like me to rewrite my lesson plans?
Of course. That is the purpose of this non-threatening collaboration we are having. You must rewrite them based on the school district's instructional page on their website.
That is what I thought I was doing, but I will look over it again.
Please do. Your lesson plans are the most important thing you do as a teacher. You must spend hours and hours on your lesson plans. When your lesson plans are fantastic and amazing, you will then be able to teach the students. Without amazing and perfect lesson plans, you cannot know how to teach. You will fail as a teacher. Many standards and jargon must be seen in your lesson plans. Even if they make no sense to you, they are very important for the students. For your lesson plan grade, I am giving you an F.
An F? I didn't even know we were getting graded on them.
Oh yes, you are. It is a high F, but it is an F nonetheless. We treat your lesson plans just like you treat your students' papers.
In that case, could I have a rubric for the lesson plan expectations? I find that rubrics help my students, and I always use them for their papers.
I do not have time to create a rubric for you. You should know what is expected of you. However, you must include all of your rubrics in your lesson plan. That is part of the lesson plan expectations.
Principal Pal, I'm sorry to bring this up, but I was not aware that rubrics needed to be included in the lesson plans. Nowhere on the school district instructional does it say that.
I have to lay all the expectations out for you. I thought you were a professional. Next you'll be asking me if you need to include your name and date on the lesson plans, along with state standards from 4 different states and 3 Canadian provinces to prove that you are meeting expectations for various locations.
I guess I will have to begin researching other state and province standards. Should I include national standards? That is what I have been doing.
What is more important than national standards are the international standards. You should also be incorporating the intergalactic standards, which are currently being developed.
Wow. I have never heard of international or intergalactic standards before.
Again, why did you go into this profession? Your lack of knowledge troubles me. Don't forget to also include the exact wording you will use for each individual student for all conversations during the day in your lesson plan. You have also been forgetting to write out the scripts you will use when calling parents for any type of situation that may arise for each child. You will also need to include your responses to any possible comment a parent or guardian will give.
Principal Pal, are you joking?
I never joke about such matters. You must include all possible dialogue that will occur.
I have never heard of such things before. How does one go about writing such dialogue?
Do I have to teach you everything? You are the teacher in this scenario. But, to help you, if you begin a phone conversation with "Hello, is Mrs. Smith available?" and the person says, "This is Mrs. Smith," you must answer with, "Hello, Mrs. Smith, how are you today?" If she responds with, "I am fine, how are you?" you should say, "I am very well because I have your wonderful little Johnny in my class." If she says, "I am okay but I have a slight cold," you should respond with, "Oh, I am very sorry to hear that." If she says, "I was fine but your call just ruined my day," you should say, "Forgive me for being an awful teacher. I will now go and flog myself with a rusty hanger to make up for disturbing you." If she says, "I am being attacked by flying monkeys," you should sympathize respectfully. Of course, if Mrs. Smith doesn't answer the phone, there are many more responses you must have written out and memorized before the phone conversation takes place.
Isn't there an infinite amount of responses that could arise?
Yes, and you must write them all out. Every single one.
Wow, I had no idea how far off the mark my lesson plans were. Forgive me, Principal Pal. I am unworthy to be a teacher.
You know you were right. I do not see why you have entered this profession.
Will this situation be rectified if I go and shoot myself in the head?
As long as you do it off school grounds and not during school hours. That may be the best possible thing for how awful this situation is.